Hello, I'm Jonathan and welcome to the Tamworth FC Social, a podcast all about Tamworth Football Club. There's just one game of the season left. This time we're chatting our picks for Tamworth's player of the season. Plus, Brett and Graham make their predictions for Banbury United away. Going into the final regular match day of 23-24, both of them could still win the podcast's prediction league. Don't forget you can follow us on social media at TFC Social Pod. You can click subscribe below this video and switch notifications on to be updated when we upload new episodes. The South Shields victory on Saturday then, a pretty exciting game, I thought, for the final home match of the campaign. A little bit of a throwback almost to how Tamworth are playing a little bit earlier in the season, where it was maybe a bit more free-flowing attacking football at times, I thought. Not that we're too concerned about results now that the league title is already wrapped up. It's always nice to end a home season with a win.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, when you look at it, you think, oh, this is us really playing free to do what we've just been really good at. So we've won the league, all be wrapped up, playing against a team full of confidence, got something to play for, need to win to get in the playoffs, come all that way with a decent following as well. And we still put three past them and win the game. That for me, that's a real statement win. Forget about some of the other results that we've had to work really hard to get it over the line. That is a statement win. That is we are Tamworth FC. We are the champions. You are at our home ground. You are not beating us. This is our day. This is our season. This season's for us. But actually, John, you were at the game, so why don't we flip it? And why don't you say, why don't you talk about what you thought of the game?
I like your style, Brett. I was particularly impressed by Beck-Ray and Beck-Ray Noru, to be honest, on either side of the pitch. There was a spell in the second half. I seem to remember every time the ball went forward, it was those two players who were, the key outlets, and South Shields just couldn't handle them. But there was one particular moment that sticks out in my mind. I think it was Beck-Ray Noru was sort of one-on-one with a defender, and he just knocked the ball past him and sprinted on. And I think for a player who's not played many games for Tamworth, it's just so refreshing to see that. And if he can make the step up next season, that could be a little gem that Tamworth have found there. Something a bit different maybe as well. But then Chris Ray got man of the match on the day. I thought his hold up play was absolutely excellent. Got a goal as well. And it's the kind of, I think as a defender, you never want a striker to be able to sort of hold the ball up and turn. And it felt like he did that a few times and was just super dangerous in the penalty area. And then Nathan Shikuna ending the season on a bit of form, it feels. Got a goal on Saturday as well. And yeah, it sort of didn't come to my mind immediately during the game that this is a team in South Shields that had won 7-0 the week before. But I wonder if this was earlier in the season when there was still the league title on the line, we'd probably be much more excited because it is a statement win, really, against a full-time team. And Tamworth have done that to a few of the full-time teams in this division, which is just excellent, really.
Proper statement win. We didn't have to go there and try. But I mean, last home game of the season, and we won it at a canter, really. And it was it's great to see a kind of bit of an unusual game from us in the fact that we won that 3-2. But I had a feeling there was going to be goals in that game. Just thought we'd probably let loose for that last home game, and that's what happened. And it was good to see Beck-Ray get a start in position, and he's obviously performed really, really well. I think he's a really exciting talent. And then it's good to just the Shikuna and Akwai have hit some form again, and we've got some exciting players like that, which I think likes the Shikuna, Beck-Ray, Ben Akwai. They've not played at National League level, and they're kind of untouched gems, really, potentially. So quite exciting, depending on if all these guys stay. I have a feeling Beck-Ray will. He's certainly somebody who looks like we've signed potentially for the long term. So yeah, no, really, really great win that. Andy Peakes, he likes these wingers that are, got a bit of excitement, bit of pace, will, not afraid to take on players, but also work hard as well.
Few bits of news since our last episode. Andy Peakes has signed a new 2-year deal as manager, which is obviously very exciting. It never occurred to me that he wouldn't be around for next season, but this can only be a good thing, I suppose, Brett.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really, that's more, I suppose, of a reward and a thank you for everything that he's done, because obviously he already had a season left on his contract anyway. Peakes is going to go down as one of the greatest managers of all time in Tamworth's history. You talk about Gary Mills, Mark Cooper, Darren G. Well, none of those have got promotion twice in a row. We haven't started next season yet, so we obviously will need to see how much yet another step up will test Peakes and his network. But he's just got a great way about him. I think it will just be interesting to see how he can perform, or how he can get the best out of. Even if he keeps the team this year, we'll have to add players for the season after. And then by that point, obviously, this team that he's built will ultimately break up, and we'll need to evolve further to see how he can mould a new set of players under different circumstances. Getting a team together to go down to London on a Tuesday night is obviously very different to getting players together that you know of in your network, who are probably at the absolute extremity as a one-off. You're going somewhere up north and that's going to be a one-off, whereas this is obviously going to potentially be week in, week out. So he'll have that to contend with as well. And obviously, again, he's got to do that travel. He's got to commit to that too. But yeah, I think it's that's as positive as any player signing that you could get, because it just shows that we've got the belief within the manager, and it should help players want to come to Tamworth as well. I'm not thinking, this guy's in his last year of his contract, we don't know what's going to happen after this season, considering it's the first time they've been in this league in a decade. I ain't so sure what's going to happen next year. It puts an intent out there that actually we really want to build rather than just maintain.
As far as other news in the last week or so goes, we know a few more of the teams who are joining Tamworth in the National League next season. Forest Green Rovers, their relegation from League Two has been confirmed. Meanwhile, Yeovil Town have won the National League South, which means the prospect of their boss, Mark Cooper, facing the Lambs next season. He is, of course, a former Tamworth manager. I presume he would have faced Tamworth when he was at Kettering. Is that right?
Yeah, he did.
Looking forward to a few games like that. I mean, Forest Green, that's a crazy one. They were in League One last season. They're playing Ipswich Town. Now they're going to be playing at the Lamb. So from Portman Road to the Lamb.
Given the season's nearly over then, it seems like it's a good moment to chat about your player of the season shouts. So after much deliberation between the three of us, we've whittled a list down to 4 players, and then Brett and Graham will make their player of the season picks from those. And you don't have to pick the same winner, both of you. So given how brilliant the Lambs' defensive record has been this season, just the 29 league goals conceded at the time of recording, it's no surprise that the back 5 are well represented. So we've got Jazz Singh, Matt Curley, Jordan Cullinane-Liburd, and Ben Milnes on our 4-player shortlist. Brett, do you want to start by chatting about Jazz Singh?
Well, I think I'm really surprised that Jazz Singh hasn't had more plaudits than he has for this season. Obviously, he's broke the record for the longest time we've gone without conceding. He's been with us now for years. He's the second title that he's won for us. I know we're basing it on this season as well, but you watch the games that Jazz plays in. He commands his box. He's a really strong leader for the back line as well. The confidence that he gives the back line, knowing that he is behind them. He makes chances as well from his goal kicks. He's just, for me, he has been the catalyst to the promotion push.
What do you think, Graham? I mean, Pretty convincing case made by Brett there. Also saw this week a stat on social media basically puts him amongst the top keepers in the National League North when it's down to goals prevented per 90 minutes and his save rate. Passes the eye test, passes the stats test as well.
Yeah, he's been exceptional for us for not just this season, but a number of seasons now. I suppose this season and last season, the ones that stand out because of what we've done. But yeah, I mean to come up to National League North, a level that he's not played at for a number of years, and he's made some terrific saves this season to keep us in games. One that I can think of that was really, really big was against Scunthorpe when it was 1-0, and I think it was Matt Curley. Then he scored an own goal and he made a terrific save. And there's been a number of those this season where he's made some really good saves. And I think Brett makes a good point that he is going to give a lot of confidence to the defenders in front of him, because they know if they do make a mistake like Matt Curley did, then there's somebody there to, that's a safe pair of hands that's always got a chance of preventing a goal. So yeah, he's had a terrific season. I hope he stays with us, because I think he's worthy of a chance in the National League with us. And he's if he can concede that little amount of goals in that league, then I'm sure he can help us to stay in the National League.
So from one key member of that record-breaking Tamworth defence this season onto another, Matt Curley is the next on our list. By my reckoning, he's played all but one of Tamworth's league games at the time of recording. Extremely solid right back. Graham, thoughts?
Yeah, he's been brilliant for us for past 2 seasons, really. I suppose he's probably got pretty lucky as well with not getting injured, but he's consistently held that spot and rightly so. Really, really solid player, really good fullback. He gets up the wing as well and puts crosses in, as well as doing his job at the back. So yeah, he's been really strong for us these past 2 seasons, and I think he's definitely our most consistent player. He doesn't really ever. I've not really seen him have a bad game as such. So yeah, he's worthy of being player of the season, and I think he'll do. Out of a lot of the players, I can see him naturally making that step up to the National League. He's solid.
Would you agree with that, Brett? It feels like fullback these days is sort of one of the harder positions in football, just because it demands so many different areas of a player's game.
It's the way the game's gone, hasn't it, really? I think they're so integral, a good fullback, to everything, really. Obviously, they form part of your forward movement. They've got to be strong at the back as well. And actually, if you stand and you watch or sit and you watch Curley, he reads the game really well. I think I remember watching him against Scunthorpe, and the amount of the amount of chances that he intercepts or he stops, he's just got a real good footballing whereabouts. For a lot of this team, obviously, these were with us last season as well, like Chaz Singh, as we've said. Curley was with us last season as well. But I feel like Curley in particular, he's come in, but he's really took to the Conference North, and it's obviously tried him, he's developed, and he's kicked on from that. And I just think he's been really consistent. Again, I think like Singh, he's been consistently very good in form. Makes a difference.
I think he's one of those players as well that Andy Peaks has got the best out of.
I remember watching Curley against Scunthorpe. I remember just saying, bloody hell, he is really good. And I do honestly think that Curley's probably our best outfield player now that Jamie Jones has gone.
I'd agree with that. He's certainly our most consistent.
Just me who sort of thinks of him in a similar bracket of player as Richard Tate. Obviously, they played the same position, but Richard Tate was very, very consistent when he was at Tamworth.
We've always had a lot of consistent fullbacks. You can go back sort of like 20 years and you look at, we had Rob Warner at right back. He was very, very consistent, and he got us into as part of the promotion winning squad when we first got into the conference. We've always had some good fullbacks over the years. You know, you think back to conference days with Scott Stamps, AD Smith played at right back, all names that were very consistent and solid. So, and I think we have, before the peaks period, we were lacking in that, in some of those consistent players. So it's good to see that, you know, somebody like Curly's come along and he's held on to that position for a couple of years and really made it his own, really, and become a fan's favourite.
Next on our list is another member of that record-breaking Tamworth defence. This time it's Jordan Cullinane-Liburd. He's played the vast majority of Tamworth's matches this season and also a pretty decent goal return for a defender. I make it 5 that he scored in 23-24. Brett, do you want to kick us off on Cullinane-Liburd?
I think the one thing I really like about Jordan is if you actually watch the way he plays, obviously other teams don't like it, but he played a really big part in the way that we were playing when we were winning games or when we needed to not lose, in slowing the game down. It's playing the game really. It's the ugly side of football that he just does really, really well. He's got a fantastic aerial presence. He can get up and down the pitch. He's strong. You know, he's going up into the keeper's face, he's mimicking their every move, sitting down in front of them and winding up the opposition. That's everything that you want a good centre half to be doing, getting under the skin of the defenders, like winding them up, putting them off their stride. Really breathing down the neck, making yourself present, like that you're in for a game here and I'm not going to give you an inch, chipping in with goals. Just a really, really good season. I mean, he's obviously had a great season last year as well. The fact that he lost in the playoff finals with Brackley, and this time he's come to us and done one better and won it. So it's a man who knows how to win.
I think, to be honest, it was probably a signing of the season, really. You know, he's come from Brackley, which was a established Conference North club. He's kind of been there and done it. He's been at Hereford and stuff as well. And it was a really good signing. I remember thinking it at the time, and I thought, well, this, you know, we mean business here by signing Jordan. And I think when we played Brackley the other week, they knew all about him, and I think they kind of that's the first team that basically wound him up rather than the other way around. And they knew how to kind of press his buttons, really. He ruffles the feathers of a lot of teams, and it's something a bit different. And it does make an impact and it does make a difference. And I remember seeing him when he played Scunthorpe, and he was just going up to the keeper, bumping into him, standing on the line, winding him up. And you know what? You don't see that much of that in the professional game. It's kind of, you know, going back a number of years when you see people like Vinnie Jones and stuff doing things to wind up players. And it you know, people like Brett said, people, fans like characters like when they're in your team anyway. When it's in the opposition's, obviously it's a bit different. But I think he's an exceptional defender, and you know, just being really solid all season, and he's just very, very reliable. I hope we can keep hold of him. You would hope that he would stay and be a part of it next season. I can see him stepping up, because he's been at this level for a number of years. So I think he deserves that opportunity.
And moving on to the fourth and final player on our shortlist, Ben Milnes, captain, fantastic. Graham, would you like to kick us off?
Yeah, Ben Milnes. For me, he's my favourite Tamworth player. I think when we had a spell when he wasn't in the team, we looked like we were missing that injection of kind of who we were and what we did, and rallying around teams to get the ball back and everything. And that was that period where just after Jealous left as well, and I think when he came back, he made a massive difference. There was a game, I can't remember which one it was, where he came back in and it was kind of evident to me that was the missing link. Just a really great footballer who gets up and down the pitch and just gives us so much energy. Obviously, a natural leader as well. Who's the club captain, and for me, yeah, he's I suppose he kind of went a bit unnoticed when Jamie Jealous was here because he was the one that kind of took the plaudits. But when Jamie Jealous has left, for me, he kind of really stood out more then as one of our top players. So yeah, I hope he gets his chance next season. Not sure if he will. I think he's probably 32, 33. So depends if he wants to commit next season or if it's that's him done, depending on what he does outside of football. But yeah, really exceptional player, and I do hope we can keep hold of him because again, he's another one that deserves that opportunity. But I guess it's whether he can commit to that.
Would you agree with that, Brett?
Yeah, I think first of all, I think if we aren't able to sign Milnes for next season, I think that's probably just as big a blow to us as to what it has been losing Jealous this year. He's the captain, and he's been the captain now. He's won 2 titles with us. So if we can't take him with us for next season, I think that's going to be a real hole that I just don't think we'll be able to fill. I could see that really setting the team back if that was the case. But obviously, he's the engine in the middle of the park in the team. And actually, I remember BBC WM asking me what I thought about Ben Milnes before we went on air, and I just said that he'd been with us now for a couple of seasons, and he just makes everything tick. He's the one that makes that link between the back line and the forward play. He's the one who's obviously getting around the middle of the pitch, making chances, obviously scoring scoring his own opportunities as well. Look at that goal that he scored against Spennymoor, back at the start of the season. That was an absolute screamer. Probably one of the if not the goal of the season for us as well. It's a shame, obviously, that he's had the injuries that he has had, and I suppose obviously him coming off against Warrington at home, which looks like that was his hamstring again. That would be the worry for next year, whether he's obviously, because he is that bit older. I mean, it's depressing that we're saying that he's the same age as me. Whether his body could take that extra bit of athleticism and physicality in the league above.
That's not to say we're trying to put him off though. We hope he can. We hope he does step up and goes for it.
Go on, Ben.
Go on, Ben.
Maybe if he wins our Player of the Year picks, that might convince him. Before I get your final decisions on the Player of the Season, just worth mentioning a few of the squad that didn't make our shortlist, but have nonetheless had really good seasons for the club. Carl Finn, I think, is probably an obvious one. Club's top scorer in the league with 14 goals for a midfielder. That's a very good total. And it's quite unusual, I think, given Tamworth have kind of run away with the league a little bit and have been really comfortable in winning the title. There hasn't been like a standout goal scorer in the same way that other clubs in the division have got. When you think that the top scorer in the league has got nearly 30 goals and Tamworth's top scorer has got 14, probably shows how big a team effort it has been. Brett, quick word on Carl Finn.
He had a really good start of the season. I think if you split Carl Finn's season in half, he was absolutely unplayable start of the season. And then probably I feel that he burnt out a little bit after Scunthorpe. He just looked tired quite a lot. But at the same time, he absolutely runs himself ragged. Gets in and around and at defenders, gets himself into positions where he's a danger. I would have liked to see him score more goals for himself because he definitely gets himself in the right places. But you are right; it just shows how much of a team effort it has been. For him to be the leading scorer with 14, and like you said, not even be really anywhere near the other league's leading scorers, just shows how important everything else within his game's been as well. Because he creates a lot of opportunities for other players as well. Sprinting up from the right, getting a ball into the box, for the likes of Jordan, Cullinane-Liburd and the others to get their head on the end of it. And Crean, I think, actually, if you look at a lot of Crean's goals, it's come off the back of a Carlton assist.
Yeah, I think he's had an incredible season for the type of right winger he is, with the fact that he cuts in on his left with his left foot. It's just an interesting position. I think it's one thing it's kind of it's caught a lot of teams out at the start of the season because of the way he cut in, and he did it a lot there was quite a few similar goals. I have a feeling when it came to us playing games again against those teams, they were quite savvy to what he was doing. I don't know the percentage of like how many goals he scored first half of the season to second half, but as Brett alluded to, I think he was probably performing at a higher level then, when, you know, I guess he was fresh to the league and teams didn't really know what he was about. But I mean, yeah, what an incredible season for him. If he's someone that stays for next season, then it'll be interesting to see how he can do. I think it's a big step up for him, as it is for a number of other players. But I do think it's something different that we have there with that right kind of right winger stepping in on the left foot. It's a bit like Phil Foden, I suppose, isn't it?
Another player, perhaps unlucky not to make our list, Jamie Willits. Probably, had we not had three defensive players on there already, he probably would have had a good case to be on our shortlist. But another player had a very, very good season for Tamworth.
Yeah, I reckon actually that when people hear this, they'll probably be surprised that we've chosen Cullinane-Liburd over Willits. It's just a real solid player again, someone else who's got quite a bit of experience and back-to-back titles. Be great to see him take another step up with us again. It's just solid, all round solid. He's the kind of player now. He reminds me of an Andy Smith kind of character. You know, really solid, really dependable, good fitness levels. Be a really good player, and probably someone that actually going forward, when you think about captaincy or vice captaincy, I mean, jazz thing really, isn't it? But there's no reason why someone like Willits couldn't do it as well. I think he'd fit that mold and tick that box.
And then just one more we'll talk about. I think, Graham, you on our group chat, you were talking about Jamie Jealous as a possible for the shortlist. Might seem a slightly unusual pick. Obviously didn't make the shortlist ultimately. Jealous hasn't played for the club since January, but his influence on the team in that first half of the season, undeniable, really.
Yeah, exactly. I think he was the fact that obviously he got bought by Walsall, who were two leagues above, and he was being scouted by all sorts of clubs, shows the impact he had just in that half a season for Tamworth. And it wasn't, it wasn't single-handedly about him, but he was the kind of standout player, and he made things happen. He gave us that energy, and I think for a number of games, after he left, we kind of not lost our identity, but we won games by working hard and basically not losing. And I think he gave us that little bit of, that attacking edge, something different. The guy just never stopped running. And he worked so hard. He's the epitome of what that team's all about, really. But you do think if he'd have stayed till the end of the season, would we have topped 100 points maybe? Because I think we'd have probably won some of those games that we drew, because I do think he had that impact to basically change a game. He was that one player who could really do that. And arguably, I would say he's probably, if he'd have stayed for the whole season, he's probably the best player in the whole league. Big call that.
If anyone can hear jangling, it's Graham's dog who's just joined us on the podcast. So then, Graham and Brett, it is decision time. Out of our four-man shortlist of Jazz Singh, Matt Curley, Jordan Cullinane-Liburd, and Ben Milnes, I want to hear who is your player of the season. We'll start with you, Graham.
Very, 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 very difficult choice. There's players that we said even that weren't in the shortlist that could have been in there. And, we were just talking about, Jamie Willits, how consistent he's been. And when we talk about Carl Finn, and there's others in there that I think, Benakwai was had a good season. I mean, Nathan Shakuna, someone we haven't spoke about. So yeah, but going back to obviously the shortlist that we've pulled together, I think overall, and kind of epitomizing what we're all about, someone who's been consistent all season and arguably has become a better player as well since he's been with Tamworth this season. I'm going to go with Matt Curley.
What about you, Brett?
Really strong case there that Graham's put forward for Matt Curley. And I'd agree with everything he said there. But for me, I think Jazz Singh just tips it just for just that sheer consistency, the presence, everything that he adds to the team. His record helped further elevate the reputation of Tamworth and helped build the reputation of us being a really tough team to beat. And he's well known as well. But he's just a great player. You got to remember as well that all these players, they're part-time, they're trained, max twice a week. I just don't think Singh's form at any point has dropped. And he's won us so many points like goalkeepers do. I mean, you just look at Bishop Stortford as well. We made a joke before during the Bishop Stortford game. Like, did he just give that penalty away just to make the game a bit interesting? Because he obviously gave it away, saved it, moved on. He gives you confidence. There's a situation where it's a dangerous free kick. You think, oh, Jazz has got this. There was a period of time where you generally thought, we're never going to concede a goal again. Well, we've got Jazz Singh in goal. I just think it's everything. He's as important as Ben Mills when it comes to leadership. Great season for a keeper that, for me, just continues to go strength to strength. So, well done to Jazz Singh.
And it would be remiss of me not to mention we did an episode a little while back discussing whether Jazz Singh is Tamworth's greatest ever goalkeeper. I would strongly urge you to go and check that one out. The final game of the season is upon us then. Already relegated Banbury United away. Tamworth lost the reverse fixture 2-1 back in November. Aside from maybe some fancy dress in the crowd, what are we expecting from this one, Brett?
I don't know, really. It's a strange one. I think Banbury are in probably the worst form I can remember a club being in for ages. They can't get a win from anywhere. So they've obviously been in complete free fall since Christmas. And you look back and you think, how in God's name did they beat us? But I remember at the time as well thinking, oh, probably not a surprise, really. Banbury are a decent side. Well, guess not. I can see us going there, probably changing the team up a little bit. Part of me would like to see them beat them, like say 7 or 8 and send them on their sorry way. But I don't think we will, because we don't need to.
I think we'll probably just go into this game with the same vein as what we did last week. I love it that Andy Peaks says we don't want to lose any points. We want to get as much points as possible. I love that mentality, and he'll always demand the most from his players, whatever it is. And I think they'll just play with freedom, and we'll beat them. I think we'll probably beat them 2-0. They're down, and that's it. And for us, it's just another celebration and a chance to just give the players one final send off for the season, and hopefully another 3 points. And that'll take us up to, what will it be, 96 or something? So not quite the 100 mark, but if we can get the 3 points, then grand. But yeah, I mean, I don't want us to lose, because that's silly, really. We don't want to be losing it. They're an already relegated team, so, but I don't think we will lose it. Worst case scenario would be a draw, but I think we'll win.
For the last time then this season, I want to hear your predictions. Last time out, Brett, you thought Tamworth would draw 0-0 with South Shields. Graham, your prediction of 2-2 was looking like it might happen for a long time in that game. But Tamworth did, of course, win 3-2, so no points for either of you. It means we go into the final day of the season with both of you being able to win the Predictions League. How exciting. Graham, you're on 23 points. Brett, you're on 21. And reminder, it's 1 point for a correct result and 3 for a correct scoreline. Also means there's a very real possibility you both go for the same result and one of you gets the scoreline right and you end up on both 24 points. But I'll think of something as a tiebreaker if that happens. So, Brett, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I think we will win. I think we'll win 2-0 because I don't think we're going to go out there and really put the pedal to the metal because we don't need to. So I think goal either side at the half do us nicely. If that comes off, I think I deserve 10 extra points. Don't see Graham, the champion-elect, saying when goals are going to be scored. 15 corners, 16 throw-ins, and 6 substitutions.
And a Ben Aquai shot on target. I think. Well, I did say 2-0, and now I'm kind of wanting to change my mind just to be different. So I am going to do that. I'm going to say 3-0.
Very sporting of you, Graham. You could have just matched Brett's prediction there
If I'm going to win it, I want to win it in style.
That's all for this episode of the Tamworth FC Social podcast. Thank you for listening. You can follow us on social media at TFC Social Pod. If you've enjoyed this episode, please give it a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can do that by clicking the subscribe button below this video and turning on video notifications. Until next time, goodbye.